Welcome to the Omega Channel. Here, we will use the power of language to guide you step by step into the world. Hi everyone, I am Omega. How is your day going? I hope you are finding some space to breathe.
And hi, everyone. I am Justin. It is fantastic to be here with you all.
I have to be honest with you and our listeners. Right at the start, I had a bit of a crisis this morning. It sounds a little silly now, but at the time, it felt very real.
Oh, no. A crisis. Everything is okay, I hope.
Well, depends on your definition of okay. I decided I wanted to buy some coffee beans, just, simple bag of coffee for the morning.
Right.
But then I fell down the rabbit hole. I spent 45 minutes researching them.
45 minutes.
Yes, I looked up the altitude the beans were grown at. I checked the soil composition. I was comparing acidity levels between like 3 different regions in Ethiopia versus 2 in Colombia.
That sounds like you were preparing for a doctoral thesis on agriculture, not just making a morning brew.
Exactly. And the worst part, after all that, with 10 tabs open on my screen, I got so overwhelmed that I just closed the browser. I bought nothing. I am drinking a box of peppermint tea I found in the back of the cupboard because I simply could not choose.
Ah, classic. That is actually hilarious, but also a perfect example of what we're discussing today. You analyzed the life out of the choice until the choice died.
It really did die, and frankly, it was exhausting. I felt more tired after buying nothing than if I had just run a marathon.
What you experienced is called analysis paralysis. It's a major trap, not just in buying coffee, but in life, and specifically in learning English. So our sharing today is about why we get stuck, how to overcome those flat periods in learning, and the specific English phrases you need to sound decisive,
Even if you are screaming inside.
especially when you're screaming inside. Our goal is to help you slow down, find yourself, and heal your life, all while becoming a bit more decisive.
I love that. So let us start with that term you used, analysis paralysis. Can we define that clearly for our listeners?
Certainly. Analysis paralysis is when you overthink a decision to the point that you never actually make a decision. Psychologically, it is often linked to the paradox of choice.
The paradox of choice. Is that the idea that having too many options is actually bad for us?
Precisely. We think we want freedom. We think we want 50 different types of coffee. But the human brain gets overwhelmed by that much data. When the options multiply, your fear of making the wrong choice skyrockets. You become terrified of regret.
That hits home. I was not afraid of the coffee. I was afraid of buying the wrong coffee and feeling stupid about it later, so I froze.
And that fear freezes you. But there's a way out. In the business world, there is a very famous heuristic, a mental shortcut to deal with this. It is called the 70% rule.
The 70% rule, is this like getting a passing grade in school?
In a way, yes. The rule is simple. If you have 70% of the information you need to make a decision, do not wait for perfection. Just go. Just act.
Only 70%.
Yes. Because the cost of acquiring that last 30%, the time, the energy, the stress, is usually higher than the risk of being wrong. If you wait for 100% certainty, you will be waiting forever.
But 70% feels so, I don't know, risky. I usually like to say I am mulling it over. It sounds so safe and thoughtful, like I am being a philosopher about my choices.
It does sound safe. Mulling it over is a great phrase. It implies heating and spicing a drink, letting it sit. But be careful. Often, mulling it over is just a polite disguise for stalling.
Stalling, meaning delaying because of fear.
Precisely. Let me share a story from the business world to illustrate the cost of stalling. There was a CEO of a major tech company who needed to choose a new logo, a simple logo.
Okay, that is a big decision, though. It is the face of the brand.
It is. But he fell into the trap. He spent months analyzing colors. He held focus groups about fonts. He delayed the launch of a flagship product because he could not decide if the blue should be navy or midnight.
Oh no, please tell me he eventually picked one.
He did, but too late. Because he stalled for those extra months hunting for perfection, a competitor launched a similar product first. They captured the market. It is estimated that his inability to choose a simple image lost the company nearly $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Uh,
Just because he could not pick a shade of blue.
because he was paralyzed. He wanted 100% certainty. If he'd used the 70% rule, he would have launched, learned from the market, and adjusted later.
That makes my coffee situation seem a little less expensive, at least, but it is the same principle. I wasted 45 minutes of my life that I can never get back.
Exactly. And this feeling of being stuck, it translates directly to how many of our listeners feel about learning English.
That is a great transition. I want to ask you, the listener, do you feel stuck? Because I often feel that way, even about running this channel. I feel like I'm working hard, but I'm not seeing the results anymore.
This is a very common phenomenon. In language learning, we call it the intermediate plateau.
The Intermediate Plateau. That sounds like a geographical location, a lonely place.
It is a metaphor, but a powerful one. Imagine you are climbing a mountain. When you are a beginner, the hill is steep. You climb, and you can look back and see exactly how high you have come. You learn the alphabet, then basic greetings, then past tense. The progress is visible and, well, addictive.
Right. You get that dopamine hit because you see the climb. Look at me, I'm speaking.
Exactly. But when you reach the intermediate level, you reach the top of that steep hill. Now, you are walking on a giant flat plane. You are still walking. You are still working just as hard. But when you look back, the view does not change, and you can't see the next mountain yet.
Wow. That resonates with me so deeply. It is that feeling of walking and walking, but feeling like you are standing still. Why does that happen? Is it just in our heads?
It is not just a feeling, it is math. It is the law of diminishing returns. When you know 0 words, learning 10 words is a huge jump. But when you know 2,000 words, learning 10 more is a drop in the ocean. You do not feel the difference anymore, so you assume you have stopped learning.
So how does that affect us emotionally? Because for me, honestly, it triggers my social anxiety. I start to feel like I'm failing. I feel like if I am not strictly organizing my notes or using my flashcards for exactly 30 minutes, then I am lazy. I feel guilty.
And I want to stop you there, because that guilt is toxic. And I want our listeners to hear this clearly. You are not failing. You are not lazy. You are just in a rut.
In a rut. That is a great idiom. Can you explain the visual for us?
To be in a rut means you are stuck in a fixed, boring routine that is not getting you anywhere. Think of a wagon wheel on a muddy road. It digs a deep groove, a rut. Eventually, the wheel is just spinning in that deep groove. When you are in a rut, the solution is not to press the gas pedal harder. The solution is to steer the car out of the mud. You need to change the scenery.
So working harder at my flashcards, that gas pedal approach is actually the wrong move.
If you're on the plateau, yes. Doing more drills will just exhaust you. You need to shift your strategy from active learning, the studying and memorizing, to what I call passive acquisition.
Passive acquisition. That sounds suspiciously like resting.
It is, but it is productive resting.
Okay, I have a very serious question then. Can I really sit on my couch, watch a show on Netflix without subtitles and not feel guilty about it? Can I just watch it to enjoy the story even if I miss some words?
Yes, absolutely yes. In fact, for the intermediate learner, you should do that.
But am I really learning anything if I'm not pausing to look up words in the dictionary?
You are learning the most important thing. You are absorbing the soul of the language, not just the skeleton. The skeleton is the grammar rules and the vocabulary lists, but the soul is the rhythm, the emotion, the way people interrupt each other, the way a joke lands. You can only get that by relaxing and letting the language wash over you.
That is such a relief to hear. I think many of us have this no pain, no gain mentality. We feel like if we are not suffering, we are not improving.
That is the old way of thinking. Think of this as the blue ocean of learning. It is vast, calm, and full of life. When you are watching that show or listening to a podcast, do not pause. Just guess the meaning from the context. If you understand 60 or 70%,
Hey, the 70% rule again.
it applies to everything. If you understand the main plot, you are winning. You are training your brain to be comfortable with uncertainty. That is a massive skill.
So we can rest without guilt. We can heal our relationship with learning by just enjoying the process.
Precisely. Stop learning so hard and start living the language.
I love that. Okay, so we have talked about the mindset. We are letting go of perfection. We are resting on the plateau. But there are times when we actually have to speak, and specifically times when we need to make a decision.
Yes, the moment of truth.
Often, I know what I want to say, but I sound so unsure. I use words like maybe, or I think, or sort of too much. I want to sound professional and decisive. I want power phrases.
I can certainly help with that. Being decisive in English is often about tone and specific vocabulary choices that signal authority.
Before you give us the phrases, can you give us a real-world example? You lived in Asia for a long time,
I
right?
did. I lived in Seoul, and importantly for this story, I later moved to Tokyo.
Moving to Tokyo sounds incredibly complicated. The paperwork, the language barrier, the cost.
It is intense. When I was preparing to move, I had friends who were also moving there. They had these massive spreadsheets. They were comparing rent prices, distance to subway stations, square footage, everything.
That sounds like my coffee bean research, but for a place to live.
Exactly. And they were miserable, so stressed they could not sleep. I decided to apply the 70% rule. I looked at an apartment online. It was in a decent area. It was within my budget. It looked clean. That was about 70% of what I needed to know.
So what did you do? Did you fly out to see it?
No. I took the apartment. I did not visit it. I did not measure the windows. I just signed the papers.
You did not even visit. That is brave. Or reckless.
It was decisive. Was it the perfect apartment? No. It was a bit small, and the neighbor played the trumpet. But because I decided quickly, I saved myself months of stress. I was settled and exploring Tokyo while my friends were still in London, agonizing over spreadsheets.
You just acted.
I acted.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the language. How do you signal to the world that you have acted?
Yes. Teach us.
Okay, I want to share 5 different ways to say, I have decided.
Yeah.
Each one has a slightly different nuance, a different flavor.
Okay, I am ready. What is the first one?
The first one is very professional. It implies you have looked at the data and you are the authority. You say, I've made a call.
I have made a call.
Yes. Think of a referee in a sports game. They make a call. Or a general in the army. It implies finality. You are not asking for permission.
So I could say, we have looked at the budget and I have made a call to cut expenses.
Perfect. You sound like a boss. You sound like someone who accepts responsibility.
I like that. What is the second one?
The second one is more action-oriented. It is for when you are tired of hesitating. You say, I am pulling the trigger.
I am pulling the trigger. That sounds intense.
It is a metaphor, obviously.
Yeah.
It comes from firing a starting pistol to begin a race. It means I am stopping the thinking process and starting the action process.
So, regarding my coffee this morning, I could have said, I am pulling the trigger on the Colombian beans.
Exactly. And then you would be drinking coffee right now instead of tea.
Rub it in, why don't you? Okay, number 3.
Number 3 is for when you are following the 70% rule. You might not know everything, but you are going for it anyway. You say, I am diving in.
I'm diving in, like jumping into deep water.
Yes. The water might be cold. You might not know how deep it is, but you are committing. I am diving into this new project. It shows enthusiasm and bravery.
That feels adventurous. It feels like you are embracing the unknown.
It is. Now, number 4 is the standard clear statement. No idioms, just clarity. I have decided to, followed by your verb.
I have decided to accept the job.
Simple, elegant, unmistakable. Sometimes simple is best.
And the last one, number 5.
This one is a special trick. It is for when you honestly have not decided yet, but you do not want to sound weak. You do not want to say, I do not know.
Oh, I need this one. I do not know is my catchphrase when I get nervous.
Instead of I do not know, which sounds passive, you say, I am weighing my options.
I'm weighing my options.
It sounds active. It sounds like you are in the process of a complex calculation, even if you are just confused. It buys you time without losing respect.
That is brilliant. I am weighing my options. It sounds so much better than I am panicking.
Much better. So we have 1, I've made a call. 2, I'm pulling the trigger. 3, I'm diving in. 4, I've decided to. And 5, I'm weighing my options.
Okay, I want to try to use one. Let me try to combine them with my feeling from this morning. I want to show I have learned something.
Go ahead, let us hear it.
Okay. I am at the coffee shop. I look at the barista. I take a deep breath and I say, I have decided to pull the trigger, but can I think about it for 5 more minutes?
No. No, that completely defeats the purpose.
I tried. It is hard to change old habits.
You cannot pull the trigger and think about it at the same time. Once you pull the trigger, the bullet has left the gun. The decision is done.
Okay, I get it. I am pulling the trigger. Full stop. No buts.
Exactly. Practice that. Say it with me now. I am pulling the trigger.
I am pulling the trigger.
Feel the difference.
I actually do. My posture changed a little bit. It feels final.
That is the power of language.
Yeah.
When you speak decisively, you begin to think decisively. And that is the secret to breaking a paralysis.
This has been such a helpful session for me. I think I understand the intermediate plateau much better now. It is not a place to give up. It is a place to change my approach.
It is a place to rest and recover. Remember, you have climbed a mountain to get here. You deserve to walk on the flat plain for a while and enjoy the view. Watch your Netflix, listen to music, let the English come to you.
And when the time comes to choose, whether it is a logo, an apartment, or just a bag of coffee, remember the 70% rule.
Do not let the analysis kill the choice. Imperfect action is always better than perfect inaction.
I hope our listeners are feeling a little lighter and a little more brave. We have covered a lot today, from billion-dollar mistakes to the neurolinguistics of learning.
We have. And for those of you who want to practice these 5 phrases, we have prepared something special.
Yes, there is a surprise bonus for you. I have put together a recap and shadowing notes from this sharing. You can find them in the description. It will help you practice these power phrases so they roll off your tongue when you need them.
Shadowing is a fantastic way to build that muscle memory. Highly recommended.
Well, I think I have made a call.
Oh,
What is the call?
the call is that it is time to wrap up this sharing. I am going to go make another cup of tea decisively and maybe watch a movie without subtitles.
Enjoy your tea and enjoy the movie.
Thanks for watching the Omega channel. I hope today's sharing was helpful. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and turn on notifications. See you next time.
Keep learning, and I look forward to seeing you again. Goodbye.